Every Transformer collector at some point in time is going to have to battle with this one question. Do you collect Toon or do you collect Stylized? On today's walk, I'm going to try to answer that question because I believe I have an answer by looking at the new Stormbreaker by DJS Toys and TFC Toys. Their take on an IDW Ultra Magnus. Hope you enjoy the walk. So before we take a look at Stormbreaker, TFC's and DJS's interpretation of a stylized IDW version of Ultra Magnus, I wanted to first try to define what it means to be Toon versus stylized. So Toon would be what we saw back in the G1 cartoon, the original movie, the '86 movies, or even the Marvel comic book run from back in the day. Now, what you have here on the left is X Transbot's interpretation of Ultra Magnus, and this would be your Toon interpretation. And if you notice, he still has a QC sticker on here. It is an X Transbot's figure. If you know, you know. So it's almost like a badge of honor. So you have your Toon look. And then on the right here, we've got Fans Toys interpretation of Ultra Magnus. If you remember when this came out, this was the inner shell, and you can armor him up to give him that G1 Ultra Magnus look. Now, some could argue that this is also stylized because this was not in the G1 cartoon. So stylized would be any interpretation or when you deviate from the G1 cartoon or comic books from back in the day. Skybound also has a current run of Transformers, but those are more Toon accurate from the G1 cartoon. So again, G1 cartoon, okay, stylized would be any variation of that. And again, I'm not an expert. I am a collector as well, so I'm sharing my knowledge and understanding. But I think it's important that we have kind of a definition before we move forward, because the goal of this review is to take a look at Stormbreaker, but also to try to define or answer the question: should we go Toon or should we go stylized? All right, so let's move those to the side and then take a closer look at Stormbreaker. Now, out of the box, this is how he comes with his missile pylons already down. All you have to do is rotate them up, rotate them forward. You're going to hear a click. There you go. And pretty much he's ready to go. Now, out of the box, you just have to do that and you're done. Now, as far as the look, bring me a little closer. He looks amazing. There's so much detail here where the camera just doesn't do it justice. He has that typical Ultra Magnus look. There's no mistaking him for Ultra Magnus. But you have that obviously the Ultra Magnus blue, Ultra Magnus red, this burgundy / maroon, but you also have this silver and gold accents everywhere, where it almost looks like there's rivets in there. Rotate them around for you. And of course, every Ultra Magnus has to have a butt flap. If you remember that from the Masterpiece G1 or Masterpiece figure, have that butt flap. Okay, the legs are amazing as well. He has that again, the silver and gold accents through it. You also have the DJS logo on there, which does look pretty cool. Classic Ultra Magnus wheels on the bottom, even down to right here, these little jet packs, which in all mode they do get lost a little, but it looks amazing. Okay, it looks stunning. Now, as far as articulation, the head, obviously goes around. No big surprise there. You can look down, look up. For a taller figure, it is nice that you get some, looking down motion. And I think that looks good. And I'll show you another benefit. Actually, I'll show you now. Being able to look down, I think, is important. And you do have a ab crunch there, so I think that does help overall. More looking down motion would be awesome, but I think with that ab crunch, it compensates for that. Okay. Now, as far as the arm articulation, you can go all the way around. Great ratchets. Oh, this is a bit frustrating. I'll show you what I mean in a second. This piece right here moves on transformation. Just gotta clip that back in. You can get that arm up. So I feel like we have just about every arm articulation you need. You also get a cool butterfly, and you get something unique due to transformation. you get this other hinge that allows it to go down as well. So you do get some good arm articulation. So nothing I feel is missing there. There we go. And I showed you earlier, you do have an ab crunch. You also have a teapot. Oops. You also have a waist swivel. It is a little tight, but you do have that. Okay, straighten it back up. As far as the legs, move these hip skirts out of the way so you can see. Some good ratchets. The ratchets here sound amazing. You just have to fight with it. I'm hopefully over time it'll be better. So I feel like you get everything you need there. Get the leg up. You also get a hip, upper thigh swivel. Not the most, but you do have one there. Okay. Now the knee is impressive to me. Fix this. You do have your 90-degree bend, but if you remove disconnect there, you can go a little bit further. So that's a plus. You just have to break the sculpt for that. Okay. Now, as far as the legs, I'm sorry, the feet, you do get a rocker. Okay. You get it in and out, but no front and back, except you do get a toe tilt, which will be helpful to put them in that running man pose. All right. So I think that's it for articulation. Now on to the accessories. So as far as accessories, let's start with the basic one. You get an alternate face mask. So you got this yellow one here. So it's a simple switch out. So there's the stock one. Just gonna pop that out really fast. Take a smudger, get underneath it, and just put that back on. Get in there. A little too high. And there we go. And that does look pretty cool. You got a yelling Ultra Magnus. All right. So basic accessory there. And of course, you have to have your missiles, Ultra Magnus missiles, done again in that burgundy, gold, silver look to it. And those open up. And those fit on the shoulders. Right on there. And you saw earlier they do open up. And I'll walk you through the gimmicks in a second. And you get your classic Ultra Magnus oversized blaster, which looks nice. You've got the silver gold accents through it, and he holds that just fine. Hold the hand. Get that thumb out of the way. It's got a typical MP plug. Fingers in there. Thumb down. Thumb around. And gotta get that finger on the trigger. Looks nice. And you've got your hammer. I feel like this came from, I believe it was Transformers Prime, where they started having Ultra Magnus with the hammer. And what's nice is you've got two places for him to hold it, and it's a pretty long one. Let's move it down to the top one. Keep an arm up. It's got to look as if it's got a little force to it. There we go. Move the camera back some. So there he looks with the accessories. Looks pretty cool. Okay. And he holds the hammer fine because of the ratchets in there. I don't know if you can see it off the ground. No issues there. And he can dual wield that if you like. So that's what you get for accessories. Now, as far as gimmicks, let's move this down just for a second. I'm going to take this out and you'll see why shortly. Now, as far as gimmicks, there's two main types of gimmicks for this guy. You have your built-in ones. So for example, this here can go forward. These blasters can go forward and they open up, as well as these missile launchers. Open them all up. And this was cool right here. You've got these hidden missiles right here that open up on the chest, which look pretty cool, pretty massive. Okay. Now the next part, I'm going to show you the head. The head does take batteries, so when you get it, the batteries you're going to need, I'll let you pause that for a second. You're going to need CR927, CR927, two of those, one of those. Two of those because you need one for the head, and I think so one here, one here, one here, so that makes three. And the last one is going to be for the matrix, so I'll show you that in a second. Okay, and they're easy to put in. You pop off the helmet in the back, straightforward. You pop off the side here to put the batteries in, and the matrix, I'll show you that in a second, which is part of the gimmicks. But the light feature, when I got mine, the light in the helmet, it didn't work. So I have the MPG Optimus Prime KO that came with the head, light up head. I just swapped it out and put it in. I'm gonna tap that in the back. Looks pretty cool. I'm not sure if the stock is red or blue. The reason you're seeing the red or blue here is because the MPG KO has that. So what you're looking at right here, please know that yours might look a little different as far as the light up options. I just wanted to show you what it looked like with the light up. And you get a light up right here and down those eyes. So yours may not pulse like that. Okay. And then as far as the weapons, those come on. Backstory for you. Oh, and if you're wondering how I'm doing this, so right here in the gun, there's a magnet. That's what's activating these. Okay. And I'll turn off some of these lights in a second. Okay. And then, of course, you have this beautiful matrix where the chest opens up. How cool is that? Okay. And then the matrix can light up as well. Let me turn off some of these lights just for a second. That does look pretty cool. This one's going out. I think I may have used up the battery on that one. Okay, so let me turn these off just for a second. I don't know if you see it's flashing. This one must have a bad battery. Turn these off, turn this off, turn that off, and turn this light back on. And then going back to the gimmicks, the matrix is pretty cool. Got this nice silver and gold. The light up feature pops out. Two batteries there. Does a good job lighting up. You got your options. There we go. Let's give Ultra Magnus the matrix back. I don't know, but this Ultra Magnus, I can see him 100% having the matrix. Put that back in there, push it back, and it's secure in there. Close that up. Here, click. Yeah, so that's what you get as far as gimmicks. Yeah. All right, let's get this guy transformed and see what it looks like. All right, and here he is transformed, and it's not a bad transformation. He transforms like an Ultra Magnus masterpiece toy should transform. That's kind of funny because there are some consistencies in the world. So for example, Grimlock will transform like Grimlock. Doesn't matter if it's a masterpiece, fans toys, Grimlock tends to transform in a certain way. Same thing with Shockwave, Soundwave. They tend to transform in a particular way because of their alt mode and uh, robot mode. Anyways, okay, so here we go. Take a look at the figure. This thing looks nice. You see the theme continuing through the Ultra Magnus blue, the white, the gold. You can see everything in there. And like I said, easy transformation. Everything does tab in where it should. You'll see, tab here, tab here, tab here, tab here. So everything just pushes in. Now, as far as playability or cool little features, I mean, everything does roll here. So, everything works. These here still work. You can still turn them on if you want to. Let's put the missile launchers on. So you got one here on this side. Another one on this side. Like I said, it is an Ultra Magnus. Now there are some cool little hidden play features. So for example, this opens up. You've got a platform. I don't know if that was in IDW. You got a cool platform there. You also have the same platform on the other side. You can open up. So you have some little mini cons, some little guys. They can definitely be used there. And you have some ramps in the back. There you go. Same one here. Got Spike. Get my spludger. Get that out there. It's a little hard to get out. There you go. So it has some pretty cool playability. It would be cool again if those lit up. You do have some, like I said, some cool light up features. So there you go. There you go. So everything still lights up the same. And the head hides in there. You get a little bit of rotation there. And there's all these little hidden things that you lose in seeing. So I don't know if you can see the red and gold there. You kind of lose that. So, all right. As far as weapon storage, what is this? The weapons do tuck away. Oh, let's close this one. Put this weapon here. And then as far as the axe, okay, the axe has a little ratchet there, okay. You're going to see two notches, a notch there and another notch there. Let me just open this up just for a second, make it a little easier. Squeeze one in there. Separate 11, let me take this off. In there. I would say just get one side first. Get the other side over here. And there we go. Turn these weapons off. There you go. So, oh, put this back on here. All right. So that's what it looks like in alt mode. Let's do a quick comparison because remember, in this video, we are looking at Toon versus Stylized. All right, so here he is with a Toon version of Ultra Magnus, their masterpiece. This is actually, I believe it's THF. I forgot the exact KO, but this is a KO of Ultra Magnus, masterpiece Ultra Magnus. However, this is how they size up. And again, I was so impressed with the transformation. It does transform like an Ultra Magnus would transform. And if you notice, he is a little bit smaller. He somewhat reminds me of Robots in Disguise, Ultra Magnus, as far as the blue and kind of look to him. Not the same transformation, but just kind of that IDW look does remind me of the Robots in Disguise Ultra Magnus. So again, looks pretty cool. Everything, you know, the weapons fit in here just like Ultra Magnus would. You got the missiles. With Ultra Magnus's gun fits in here. His gun fits in here. All right, let's put him back in robot mode and see if we can answer the question, Toon versus Stylized. Now for recommendation and the good and the bad. For the bad, it was unfortunate. The light source for the head didn't work for me. Out of the box, it didn't work. I tried switching out batteries. Um, you could tell that it needs to be soldered back together, but I don't have the know-how how to solder. So that was unfortunate. I'll put in a request. I picked this up on Show Z. I'll put in a request to have them send me a new head light source. So no big deal with that. As far as something else for the bed, going back to the head, I wish the eyes did have a little bit more life to them. They really, really pop when the light is on. Um, I just wish the eyes had a little bit more life to them, so that way they just pop a little more. For the other G1 Toon Magnus toys, they tend to have a baby blue look to them. And I understand this is stylized, but I just want the eyes to pop a little bit more. Now, the ratchets are tight. There's times when you're manipulating him, you have to almost like pick him up and force him to move. So that's all I have for the bad. As far as the good, and that's why I have him in this pose, is the ratchets are tight, but they work. I have him holding up his hammer, and I'm not worried about him, you know, it falling or him dropping it. There's been a few masterpiece transformers that I bought this year where they cannot hold their arm up. But I am not worried about this guy holding his arm up with that hammer and dropping it. Like that's not going to be an issue. The wrist does have a swivel. That part gets frustrating, but this transformation piece right here does help you with that. Okay. Now, what else about the good? This thing is painted flawlessly. It has so much detail to it that you really don't even notice all the detail. It gets lost. It gets lost. You almost have to pull it up close to look at it. And I mentioned this before about the jetpack, the rocket launchers here. That just looks stunning to me. And when it's in alt mode, you don't see that anymore because it collapses down. But you just see it, and it's amazing. Right here, look, that little circle. It just that attention to detail is why one of the reasons this figure is amazing. So as far as recommendations, I highly recommend this. I think this is a definite must to get in the collection. Is a great representation of an Ultra Magnus. If you are collecting stylized figures, definitely pick this up. So to answer the question, should a Transformer collector have Toon looking figures or stylized looking figures in their collection? Now, I'm going to offer my thoughts, my suggestions, but please know at the end of the day, it is your collection. You get to determine which Transformers you have in your collection. I mean, it's your collection. Now, majority of my figures are masterpiece Toon looking Transformers because that's what I grew up with. I enjoy looking, seeing Transformers on my shelf that look like the figures that I grew up watching. from the original cartoon and movie. Now, the stylized figures are they're they are there are so many hitting the market. I'm so amazed with Stormbreaker, with the IDW interpretation that they did with it. It's amazing. The color, the paint, the articulation, the transformation, everything is a winner for me. So, which one am I going to collect? Am I going to collect Toon, stick only with Toon, or am I going to switch over to the stylized look? Well, to answer the question, I'm going to do both. I find joy in having both in my collection. I will still collect. I will still collect my Toon looking figures because that's the majority of my collection. And like I said before, I enjoy seeing those on my shelf. However, these stylized figures are amazing. This is going to look nice next to the Bingo Toys Technobots, next to their Jazz. I am so looking forward to having this on a shelf. They have the MPG Rodimus that came out from the Lost Light. It's going to work. I have a few IDW Optimus Primes. It's going to work. So right now I have one stylized shelf. I have numerous MP Toon looking figures, but I can 100% see my stylized shelf growing and growing over time. I'm already into collecting one stylized combiner. That's the Migo Toys. I'm all in on this Stormbreaker. I know they do have another one coming out, Six Shot. I'm going to get him as well because to have Six Shot next to Magnus, they go hand in hand. If you remember from the comic books, they had a couple scenes together where they battled it out. So again, at the end of the day, you get to pick what goes on your shelf. My recommendation is do what makes you happy, but I will be collecting both. I think these stylized figures are they're amazing what's coming up. So hope you enjoy the walk. Oh, by the way, sound off in the chat. What do you collect? Do you stick with Toon or do you collect stylized or are you like me? We're going to be collecting both. All right, have a good one. Hope you enjoy the walk. Later.